Welcome to the 7th episode in Blender Beginner Series. In this one, we are talking about the lights, what kind of lights we have in Blender, and we will light up the scene to make it look really nice. As you already know from the first episode, the default Blender scene is already equipped, let's say like that, with one default light, and this light here is, if we go to light properties, is a point light. We have 4 different type of lights here: point, sunlight, spotlight, and area light. And we will cover really quickly all of them. But in order to see how light affects the object in Blender, we need to go from basically this material preview window to render preview window, like that. And just to let you know that also there is another way how you can add lights to the scene, exactly the same like you're adding the objects, the meshes, etc. by pressing Shift A and go back to the lights, and you can choose between point, sun, spot, and area. So if you want to add more than one light that is already there, you just press Shift A and add any light that you want. The light will appear right here where the cursor is, so then you can move it and position it however you want. So I will delete that, and let's just see the difference between these 4 light types. Okay, let's start with the point light. Point light is basically like a light bulb. It will emit the light omnidirectional. That means in all directions around the sphere, so all around the space. You should think about that light like that. And we have some light properties here. If you go to this green light bulb icon, first we have color of the light, so we can change the color to any color that we want. And also, let's bring it back to white. We have the power, so this is 1000 watts. It's a real 1000 watts. So if we go back to 10 watts, the rocket will not be affected by the light because the rocket is 6 meters tall, remember? And the light is a few meters away from the rocket, and 10 watts is almost nothing for that. So the light will not hit the rocket. So let's go back to 1000 for now. And also we have few other properties here: diffuse, specular, volume. That means that if everything is set to 1, it will affect all of these. But we can also change how much it will affect the diffuse color here. So maybe we want less in some artistic projects, but I always use at 1, almost always. Specular, also how much it will affect speculars here. So if you don't want to affect the specular, sometimes you don't want to do that, and you can just turn it off. And also volume is about volumetrics. We don't have it right now, so we will skip that. And another really important property here is radius. And for me as a photographer, the radius is really important here because the size of the light, the radius of the light defines the softness of the shadow, how the reflection will be, and so on and so forth. So let me demonstrate this. As you can see right here, we have some kind of shadows here, but this grid is now awful. I don't want to have it, so I will go right here and I will eliminate the floor. Also X and Y axis, I don't need it. So as you can see, we have some shadows, and if we move the light down, this is how the shadow look. So it's pretty harsh. And let me show you really quickly here. And if we make the light bigger, the shadow will be softer. So the bigger light source is compared to the object, to the model, the shadows will be softer. The smaller light source compared to the object, the shadow will be more harsh. So with this, you can define how soft or harsh shadow will be. And let's add a sunlight. So I will delete this point light, and I will go here and add light, sunlight, and sunlight is added in the center here where the cursor is, and basically the sunlight is now pointed down, straight down, so you can see the shadows are just below the rocket, like it's a noontime. And it doesn't matter where you put the gizmo here, because sunlight is practically like infinite ray of lights, parallel array of lights, and wherever you put it, it will be okay. This is how the Blender works. But what is important is the rotation. So with the rotation, you are controlling how this light will look and how the shadow will be. Also the sunlight, as you already know, it's a sun, so the shadows are harsh, and so on and so forth. And also if we go here to the properties, it has the same properties like point light, so basically similar. So that's it. Sunlight is really straightforward. Let's delete this one and let's go to the next one, the spotlight. Spotlight is amazing. I will put it all the way up, and now it's really low, so 10 watts. Let's go to 1000 watts and let's see how it looks. Not bad, but let's go even more to, we can do a math here, so we can go times 3, okay, and even more, maybe times 2. So this is a 6,000 watts, crazy. But this is like any other spotlight, maybe theater light, etc. So this is how it looks. Basically, you can control the spread of the light. Let's boost this even more, 10,000 watts. Okay, we can control the radius of the light. The shadows will be softer or harsher, like this, the point light. Also, you can control the size, the spread of the light, so you can do that. And also the blend. Let me show you a little bit. The blend, how this will blend. It will be really sharp here or a little bit softer. So this is not affecting the shadow, just the blend, how the light is basically falling in the scene. But if you want softer shadow here, you just need to boost up the radius and you will have softer shadow. So this looks much better in cycles. Maybe you cannot see huge difference here, but I can see the difference in reflections, in the shadows, etc. So we will see that in some better examples. But for now, this works pretty decent. And this is the spotlight. Let's delete that one. And one of my favorite light is the area light. And area light is basically like a softbox. So you can use S to make it bigger and smaller. Let's go here and let's go with 5,000. I don't know. Yeah, 5,000. You can bring it up, down, left, right, wherever you want. Rotate it however you want. And basically, if you have smaller light source, it will be harsher shadow. If you have bigger, not like that, come on, like this, bigger, you will have softer shadow, as you can see right here. So that's it. But with that difference, that the spotlight here, the area light here has another property, and you can make it square, you can make it rectangle, you can make it circle like a disc, and also you can make it ellipse. So, and then change the size, so like that. Also the square, the rectangle is, you can change the size. This doesn't affect the shadows or the light strength, etc. It only affects how the light will be viewed in the reflections. And sometimes you want circular reflections, sometimes you want square, depends on your project and what you want to achieve, but that's really important. And now there is another amazing property that I like to use, and that's only available in cycles. So I'll go from Eevee to cycles, and now you can see we have the spread, and the spread is similar like the spotlight, but again it's different. Now the light is emitting like really wide, 180 degree, but if we narrow it down, see, it's making a light brighter and brighter and brighter, and see how the light affects the scene. It's showing that square there. If we go from the rectangular to disc, it will be circular. It will be similar like a spotlight. So if we go back to Eevee, let me show you this. Back to Eevee, we don't have it. We only have that in cycle because it's different calculations and so on and so forth. But to let you know that you can do that and you can control the spread of the light and the shape of the light really easily. And I really like to use this spread from time to time. I like 30 degrees. Basically, you have a softbox that I have right here with a grid, and you're controlling how the light will be spread from the light source. Okay, now that we know that, it's time to light up the scene. So I will delete everything. This is how it looks by default. And basically, now let's make some really cool scene. I will go right here to 3D viewport, and I will add light and I will add area light. So this is one, I will make it bigger, and this will be my key light. So I will go here and name this key light. Okay, and I will press L and underscore just to have everything grouped together, basically all the lights, we will see. And yeah, so I want this light to be in the front somewhere here, and I will go to Eevee because probably most of you that are beginners don't have really good machine, and now let's practice here in Eevee. So I will put it like this, all right, and I will rotate it on X axis, and we cannot see anything because the light is really low. So let's go to 1000 for example. Yeah, this looks good. and maybe a little bit more on x-axis, so Rx like that, and I want to put light a little bit down, so G, Z like that, and also maybe up on x-axis, and I want to change the shape of the light. I want to press S and scale it on z-axis, so come on, S, Z, and do it like that. So see how, let me zoom it in, see how the reflection here is different. It's stretching through the whole rocket, and I want that. Okay, this is it, but let me show you something really important. In order to properly see what we want to do with the rocket and what angle we want to render out, we need to also set the camera. This is really easy. We have a camera, 0 on a keypad, and this is the view through the camera. And basically, if you press N and go to the view here, you have this option, lock to 3D cursor and camera to view. We want this camera to view, and now we are moving the camera. Basically, see here, see the camera. If I'm going around, I'm moving camera around. In case this is checked, not checked, when you move, you're just moving through the viewport. Then you need to press 0 again, go back to camera view, and click here and set up the view. So I want something like this. And for now, I will leave it like that, and we will talk about the cameras a little bit later. And why is this important? Because maybe this is my default view here. Like that. I will uncheck this, and now this is my view. Because now I want this light to maybe move a little bit here and to rotate it like that. So to have it a little bit more like 45 degrees. And this is a main light. This is a key light. I really like it. Okay, I will add another light. I can either make a copy of this one, so Shift D, and move it here. Press R, Z, and rotate it because I want to add some kind of a rim light. And maybe move it a little bit here, RZ, to rotate it a little bit more. And I can make it a little bit narrow, so S, the scale, on the double x-axis, so XX, it's a local x-axis. This is cool, and I will also press Shift D and move it here, and RZ, come on, RZ, and rotate it on this side. This is really cool, so I have another light here and another light from this side, rim light. Maybe I'll put this to 2000 just to have a stronger rim light there. And this one, let's see if I put this to 2000. Really nice. I really like it. So really strong rim lights that I prefer. And also this one, if you go with S and XX and make it bigger, you will see how the reflections are different here. So I will just XX scale it on x-axis a little bit and make this maybe 1500, let's see, yeah, something like that. Also what I like to do, so let's see, this is L underscore, this is rim light from our left, okay, and this is right. Okay, we have these lights. We can add another light. We can add some kind of a fill light. And to do that, I can also copy one of these. So let's copy one of the first one, the key light, Shift D, move it here, rotate on the Z-axis, just to fill out a little bit of these parts right here. So let's move it here, rotate it, and I can make it really big, like this, and then crank up this to maybe 3000. Let's see, yeah, just to fill it up a little bit. Let's see, before and after, and maybe this is too much, maybe 2000, not 20, 2000. Okay, so let me show you before and after, before and after. And we can basically finish it here and call it done for the lighting. But I want to show you another cool trick how to add realistic type of light. It's called HDRI Light, and basically it's a spherical type of light made out of the images stacked into a sphere, practically like you're in a space, like here in the studio, and I'm lit with all these lights around. And if you can take photos of all these lights and put it in the blender, and you will have exactly the same lighting. So let me show you here. in example. If you go to polyheaven.com, you have HDRI section. This is completely free database of 643 different maps here, HDRI maps, and you can use any of these to light your photos. You can see basically they're unwrapped spherical photos, and there is a special technique how to take your own photos. Basically you can do it with your phone, and there is an app, and just go all around and take photos spherically and use it like that. And now we will not cover that. I will just show you that these are every single map here, every single photo has 4 spheres. Basically it will show you how the light will affect transparent materials like glass, etc., diffuse, reflection, and specular. And you can choose any of these lights, whatever you find nice. For example, you want to put this rocket somewhere outside and a grass field though, so this is really cool example, but I want to put it inside in a photo studio, so I will use this blocky photo studio. Also you can go to the studio here and choose different one, but I will go with this one, and I will choose 4K. You can choose any of these, but 4K is more than enough for this example. Download it. I already have it download, and then go back to Blender, and here you maybe notice that you have different background than I have here. I have like transparent background. That's because before recording this episode, I was setting this to transparent. You have like this. So if you want to have it transparent, you go to the render engine tab and go here to the film and set transparent. Okay, I will leave it now like this, like you have it. And let's go here to the world properties, and let's go to the background, actually the color, and this is basically this background color that you're seeing here. So if we go and lower the strength, we will go back to 0, it's all to black. And if we turn off our lights, we will not see anything because there is completely dark. If we go back to 1, the rocket is lit basically with even diffuse spherical light, let's say like that. And this is not interesting. Sometimes this is really helpful. You can just add this a little bit as a fill light, but I don't like to do it. And also you can change the color here. Maybe you want different tone. It's really cool. You can do whatever you want. But instead of the color, I will click on this yellow dot. I will go and choose environment texture because I want to put some environment there. And this is it. We have crazy pinkish stuff. That's because we are missing the texture. We want to go here to open. Go where you save that texture. I saved to HDRI maps and this blocky photo studio, and here it is. And as I already said, it's like you're putting your model inside the space, like we are here in studio, and you can rotate, and the model is lit from all these lights that you can see here in the scene, from the windows, from this light, and everything. Basically, you can see our lights are completely off, and this is how the rocket looks. If you press 0 on a keyboard, this is it. And you can use just that, just one HDRI map to light up your scene, and looks amazing. And if you don't want to see the studio there or any other background, go back here to film and click transparent. And this is how it looks. If you go back to the world properties, you can choose the strength, maybe like that, maybe 0.5, whatever you want, and it's really cool. Also, if you want to rotate the whole studio, the light setup around the model, there is a really cool trick. You need to go to edit, preferences, and just enable node wranglers. So just go here to the search and type node, and you will see node wrangler. You have it disabled, but you just need to enable it, and just save preference, close this up. And now when you go here to the shader editor, and from object, so object is where our materials are, go from object to the world, you will have this. So this is representation of this part here. So this is our photo, this yellow dot is this yellow dot connected to the color, to the background right here that is green, you see, and everything is connected to the world output. So what we want to do is to add some nodes to the photo so we can rotate that photo around the sphere. And with the node wrangler, you don't need to do it manually, you just need to press Ctrl and T while this photo is, this node is selected for the photo, and you will have it automatically. And just need to go here to the Z-axis and rotate. See how the light is changing on our scene. What that does basically, if we disable transparency and move it, that basically rotates the scene around the rocket, and we will have different lights. So basically I want to enable transparency, and let's see, I want to put this somewhere over the rainbow, somewhere like this. And I want to turn our lights on, except the fill light. I don't want fill light, and I also like to go here and move this all the way down. This is only with our lights. This is with the fill light, this is without the fill light. And I want to add maybe 0.2, just a little bit. Maybe this is too much, maybe 0.15. Not bad. If you press and hold shift, you can precisely move this however you want. So maybe like this, 0.13. Just to have a little bit contrast here, but also to fill up the scene. Also, I can move it around to see how this looks with a different setup of the lights, but I pretty much like this one. Okay, so we are done with the lighting. Now let's go to the next episode where I will teach you how to animate this rocket really quickly, and then how to render it out, do some compositing stuff, and so on and so forth. And at the end, you will have your own first animation.